Welcome to another installment of Origin Stories. Riverside County prosecutors dedicate their careers to keeping our neighborhoods, schools, and businesses safe. But the journeys that led them to this noble profession are as diverse as the communities they serve. In this video series, Deputy District Attorneys discuss how they became prosecutors and explain why years later they continue to serve. Today we are joined by Deputy District Attorney Amy Zois, a prosecutor with our Homicide unit. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So Amy, tell us, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Riverside. My mom and dad are both immigrants to the U.S., different countries though. My dad's from Greece, my mom's from Mexico. I lived my whole life here pretty much, outside of school.
So tell me a little bit about growing up in a home that has what I'm assuming is Spanish and Greek and all those cultures melting together in the home.
So it's very interesting because although they're different, obviously, they're very similar. Family is always number one. Family and church, faith. I learned how to speak Greek first. My father would take me to Greece with him every summer when I was a little girl. So I didn't learn how to speak Spanish until I was older. So I'm the first in my family to go to college, to go to law school, to get any sort of doctorate degree. And so me growing up, seeing my parents work 7 days a week, literally 15 hours a day or more. They had a restaurant down the street. I think that really helped me be who I am today in terms of the work ethic.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Notre Dame High School. I'm smiling because we were just talking about that.
We were.
It was a great experience. I loved it. It's really kind of full circle moment to go back now as a parent and also as an alum and to see how things have changed, definitely, but also how much tradition and history still really matters to the schools.
So when you were there, did you want to be a lawyer? Tell us a little bit about what your dreams or hopes were for your future when you were a high school student here in Riverside.
Sure. I always wanted to be an attorney, and I don't know when that first started, if that was my dad putting in my ear, that someday my daughter's going to be an attorney. I don't know that I was ever really that person. We get a lot of students that come into our office and law clerks that have this amazing trial advocacy skill set from wherever they came from. I didn't have that. And I think maybe it's because I was a little bit insecure when I was younger. So I don't have that formal training experience, but I do love to be in trial.
So you graduate from high school,
Yeah.
And where do you go to college?
I went to Cal State Fullerton, and I have a bachelor's degree in political science and criminal justice.
So you go to law school. How is it that in law school you gravitated towards becoming a prosecutor?
My second or third year at Cal State Fullerton, I got an opportunity to work at the Pomona Juvenile DA's office. And once I started working there, I was done. That's all I wanted to do. So before I even went to law school, I already knew I wanted to be a prosecutor. It just was never really a thought to work anywhere else.
Tell me a little bit about what you remember when you accepted the job in Riverside and you show up to work,
Yeah.
wearing a suit, a real lawyer walking into your hometown DA's office.
Surreal, super excited. So I applied here. I went through a series of interviews in one day. I remember my first interview was with Johnny Key, Kelly Keenan, and Mike Socchio. And I was shaking so bad. I could hear my knees like clicking underneath the table. I was so nervous. And then I went upstairs and had my chief interview, and then I met Grover. And 2 days later, Rod called me and told me that he wanted to hire me, and I was so excited. I didn't even ask how much I was getting paid. I was just so excited, and I was like, woohoo! And I just hung up the phone, and I called my parents, and one of my parents were asking me about salary, and I didn't care. I just was excited to start working. And I'm going to be really frank. In the beginning, I was very, very scared to be in the courtroom. And I just kept telling myself, just be Amy, just be Amy. And one of my favorite judges to this day, Chip Morgan, he sent me out on my first trial. And I had only been a DA for 2 weeks. And I wanted to die. I was so scared. I just told myself, this is why I'm doing this. This is what I wanted to do. And from there, it just never stopped.
So now, as a prosecutor, tell me about the work that you currently do.
So currently I'm assigned to our homicide unit. You know, growing up as a baby DA, watching someone like you prosecuting a homicide, it's a big deal. This last year was pretty busy for me. I was in trial at least every month of last year in some shape or form. There would be breaks, but I did do 3 special circumstance homicides in a row, back to back. And people make a big deal about that. And I was honored for that work. To lose a son, a daughter, especially now as a parent, or to lose a parent, right? There's no coming back from that. So having the honor of being able to advocate, not on behalf of them, but for what happened to the person that they loved, is amazing.
Last year, we talked a lot about the work that you did in it being an especially difficult year based on the cases that you had to try. You were recognized for that work with an award, which is very special within our office, and that is to be recognized as the Prosecutor of the Year for Riverside County. Tell me a little bit about what that meant to you and your family.
It was a real honor. And I've worked really hard throughout my career, and we've had ups and downs in life. It was a real full circle moment for me, for my kids, for my parents, my sisters. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, so to be able to be a role model for them. And to this day, I don't know that my children appreciate what I do or the recognition I've gotten in the last year, but someday they will. And for me, I felt appreciated and loved and respected, and so it was really nice.
If you were talking to somebody who was thinking about becoming a prosecutor, what advice would you give them? What from your experience would you share with them before they start that journey towards this profession?
I'm always honest. So I say, if you're looking for a job where you just want to work 9 to 5, it's not the job for you. You can't do it for the money, and you can't do it for just the fame and the glory. There needs to be a passion, a fire within you to want to make real change and really advocate on behalf of our community. It is also the best job that anyone could ever have. And I don't know that I made this up or someone told me this, so I don't want to take credit for it, but to be able to put your head down on a pillow at the end of the day and thank God for all of your blessings and know that you have the career that pushes you intellectually and stimulates you intellectually in a way that is amazing, but also be able to look at your kids in the face and tell them like what you're doing is making a difference and you want to help the community. I just think it's the best job you can possibly have.